Hey guys, you are listening to English Made Simple. This is episode 23, número 23. Hola everyone, my name is Milena. Thank you for joining me. Yay, episode 23. How is everyone doing? Hope you guys are doing well. I also hope you enjoyed the last two episodes, the two parts of Learn to Speak English with IELTS. I hope it was useful for everyone, including the ones who are not taking the exam. There were some practical tips you could use. And if this is the first time you're listening to the show, welcome. And for the rest of you, welcome for the 23rd time. Alrighty, in this episode, we are going to learn when to use the word many and when to say much. Okay, many and much are something called quantifiers in English language. And when used before nouns, they imply large quantities of something. But there is a rule. There is a rule when to use many and when to say much. So I will give you a simple rule that will be so easy to remember. You will not believe how easy it is. You will remember this rule forever. Rule means regla in Spanish. It's ridiculously simple rule. I will tell you soon what it is, I promise. Okay. I will also share one exception to this rule, just to make it a little bit complicated at the end of the episode. So stay tuned and keep listening. There will also be some examples as well, as usual. So let's start, shall we? But first, can I say hello to some new countries tuning in to this show? Yes, I can, because it's my show. Hello to Russia, привет and здравствуйте. I've got some friends from Russia here in Australia. Greetings also to Morocco, Ecuador, Guatemala, India, Hong Kong and Singapore. I've got friends from India and Hong Kong and from Singapore as well, here in Melbourne. What a mix of countries. There are more countries that are listening to this show, actually, about 80 countries. I will mention them next time, okay? But bit by bit, poco a poco. Also, before we start, I want to say hello to a special listener, who is not my mom, who left a really nice review on iTunes. The username was MaxPYCL, who said my podcast is entretenido, fun. Well, muchas gracias, amigo. After I read your review, I did a quick happy dance around the house. Thank you so much. Glad you're enjoying the show. And of course, if the rest of you have a little bit of spare time, please leave a review on iTunes. I would really appreciate it. That would be really cool. Now, can we start, Milena? Yes, we can. So, when do we use many and much? And as I mentioned, these are quantifiers, okay? In this episode, I'm going to explain when we use them before nouns, okay? There's other ways we can use many and much, but in this episode, we're going to focus on using them before nouns. So it all depends if we are using it with countable nouns or non-countable nouns. Sustantivos contables o sustantivos no contables. What do you mean by countable, Milena? Well, the best way to explain this, amigos, is like this. To count means contar. Something we can count. We use our fingers. We can use our fingers, nuestros dedos, to count. I can count on my fingers until 10, and then I can count on my toes until 10 as well. Usando los dedos de mis pies. What are toes? Toes are on your feet. Imagine this. We put shoes on our feet. We have toes on our feet. Not fingers. In English, we differentiate fingers and toes. And we don't normally count with our toes, okay? That was just a silly joke. I'm just being silly. It's ridiculous. But we use fingers to count. Okay, guys. So just imagine anything with countable nouns. Imagine we can use our fingers to count them. Let's get on with this lesson. So, firstly, let's talk about when we use the word many. If you imagine in English language, plural is very simple. We just add an S at the end of a word or noun to imply it's a plural, okay? Easy peasy. Easy peasy is an English saying when something is really simple. Saying means un dicho. So by adding a letter S at the end of the noun, we imply it's a plural. For example, one pen, two pens. One book, two books. One phone, two phones. One friend, two friends. One chocolate cookie, two chocolate cookies with my coffee. Right? So I can say I have many books at home. Okay, so these are countable nouns. Something that we can count using our fingers. Something that we can count using our hands, okay? I guess it's quite self-explanatory for regular nouns. These are called regular nouns when we add the S at the end. And just to make it a little bit complicated, there are irregular nouns as well. As I mentioned in my introduction, I used one of them. I said feet. So that's a plural. We have two legs and we have 2 feet. We put shoes on our feet, okay? One hand, 2 hands. 1 foot, 2 feet. There is a funny saying in English. For people who cannot dance, it is said that they can't dance because they have 2 left feet. I thought that's quite funny. Anyway, stop making a fool of yourself, Milena. Para de ser ahueonada, Milena. I have a lot of stupid jokes, but you'll get used to it. Enough of stupid jokes. More examples of irregular nouns. Here they are. And these are the most common ones you will use. 1 tooth, 2 teeth, dientes. And the most popular irregular nouns are 2 more that are really important. 1 woman, 2 women. 1 mujer, 2 mujeres. 1 woman, 2 women. 1 man, 2 men. It's a bit faster when you say men in plural. 1 man, 2 men. There are many men drinking in this pub. There are many women dancing in this club. Okay? So to summarize, many, the word many is used with countable nouns. Countable nouns is something we can count using our fingers. 1 pen, 2 pens, 1 book, 2 books. And this is for the regular nouns. And there's irregular nouns like a man and a woman, okay? Women is the plural, men is the plural of man, okay? Many men, many women. Now, how about when we have nouns that we cannot count with our fingers? In that case, we will have to use the word much to describe that there is a lot of something. Okay, for example, information. The word information is a noun, but we don't say informations. Information doesn't have a plural. Advice doesn't have a plural. Money doesn't have a plural. So in that case, we will have to use the word much. If we want to describe a lot of something, a lot of information, okay, we would say too much information, too much money, or too much stuff. Here's my example of the word much. I'm trying not to give you too much information in one episode so that I don't overwhelm you. No agobiarlos or no cansarlos, okay? That's what overwhelm means. So the word much used before the noun, a non-countable noun, okay? So something that we can't count. Very simple, right? Did you know we could also use the word much when we talk about weight? Peso. Much is also used for quantities in weight. How much sugar do you put in your coffee? How much sugar do you have in your tea? You can use it for talking about weight, peso. How much money do you have? I'd like to know that one. How much money do you have? Alrighty, to summarize, the rule is if we can count the nouns with our fingers, using our fingers, in that case, we use the word many to describe large amount of something. And if we can't count them using our fingers, we use the word much. For example, we used for this one was information. There is also another example, knowledge and stuff, for example. As I mentioned in my introduction, there is one exception to this simple rule. People, the word people, la gente. Okay, in today's English, the correct expression is to use many people, mainly because we can say how many people are here, and we can answer with a specific number when we are referring to the number of individuals. Well, only 3 people showed up. Solo 3 personas aparecieron. Only 3 people showed up. How many people are here at the event? Well, only 3 people showed up. In that case, we use many. We don't use much. But in the old English language, in the English language of the 16th century, I had to do a little bit of a research. They used to say much people, okay? In the old English, they would say there were much people, okay? But in today's English, we say many people. How many people are here? That's one exception. When we talk about people, we use many. And guess what, guys? If you're not sure when to use many and much, then guess what? You can replace them with the 3 words a lot of, or very informal, lots of. A lot of becomes lots of when you speak in an informal way. According to Weon Inteligente, the Cambridge Dictionary is online, the word lot by itself means large amount. So, wow, there's a lot of people here today. There's many people here today. Wow, that was a lot of information in this episode, Milena. You gave us lots of information, okay? You can use it like that. You don't have to say many or much. That's one way to say it. Hey guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, don't forget to share it with your friends. Sharing is caring. Remember, if you enjoyed it and if you learned something, then your friends will also learn. In the next episode, I will give you some tips on how you can answer a very common job interview question. I've also mentioned this question in the episode 12, so go back to the episode 12. Listen to that one. Try to answer the question by yourself first until next week. The question was, the number 1 interview question you will definitely be asked when you're applying for jobs, entrevista laboral. They will ask you, tell me about yourself, okay? Now go back to episode 12. Try to answer this question by yourself. Until next week, I will give you some tips on how you can answer that question. We are approaching the end of the episode. Remember, all transcriptions are available on my website, englishmadesimple.net. If you have any questions on any of the topics we covered in this show, please let me know in the Facebook group English Made Simple or on my website. This podcast is for you guys and I'm here to help you learn. So let's do this. Until next time, arrivederci. That's Italian for